The first clothespin was invented in the early 1800s by the Shakers. It was a cylindrical piece of wood with a vertical notch cut into the bottom. In 1853, an American inventor patented a spring-loaded two-piece lever clothespin. That's the type still produced today in both plastic and wood. This Czech company makes clothespins out of beech wood. Beech is ideal because it's hard and durable. When the logs arrive at the factory, an automated bandsaw slices each one laterally into 7-centimeter thick planks. Wood is naturally damp, so it's critical to dry the planks. Otherwise, clothespins made from them would repeatedly expand and contract with temperature changes and eventually crack. First, the planks air dry outdoors for about 7 months, until their moisture level drops to 20%. Then the planks go into a kiln for 3 or 4 weeks to bring the moisture level down to between 8 and 10%. The wood now stable, workers cut the planks into shorter, more manageable lengths, then into 7 by 7 centimeter blocks. Next, they feed the blocks into a cutting machine. Its 4 circular blades simultaneously saw through each block, cutting it into 5 pieces. Each piece is 9/10 of a centimeter thick. As these thin pieces exit the machine, workers inspect them. Any pieces with knots or other flaws are removed and sold to a factory that makes mouse traps. The pieces which pass inspection go into an automated milling machine. It cuts each piece into 4 smaller pieces. Then, in each smaller piece, carves the shape of a clothespin clip on the front and a notch in the back. So each thin piece of wood has gone from this to this to this. The notch on the back will hold the spring that mates 2 clips and produces the tension they need to grip. The next machine saws 4 lines down each piece, cutting it into 5 identical clips. Before and after. All that cutting leaves rough, splintered edges, so workers now load the clips into a sanding barrel. As the barrel revolves, the clips rub against each other, the abrasion gradually smoothing the rough wood. Workers also place a piece of wax amid the clips. As the barrel turns, particles rub off and coat the wood, making it even smoother. Meanwhile, another automated machine makes the springs out of 1.5 millimeter thick iron wire. The wire has a zinc coating on it to prevent rust. Watch in slow motion how the machine twists the wire 7 times to make the coil portion of the spring, then bends the ends to make the part that fits into the notch. With all the parts ready to go, it's assembly time. Workers load clips and springs into separate chutes of the assembly machine. As each spring drops down, a mechanical finger pushes the end aside to clear the way for a pair of clips to encase the coil. Then it releases the end of the spring into the clip notches. The machine does all this at a rate of 8,000 clothespins per hour. The finished clothespins drop onto a conveyor belt that transports them to the next machine, which groups them by the dozen. From there, it's off to the packaging machine, which is preset to assemble a specific retail format. This is a 36-count package, so they've set the machine to stack 3 dozen clothespins. After placing a paper label on top, the machine shrink wraps the package. Clothespins may be a rather ordinary product, but one whose reputation is always on the line. Until the mid-1800s, people folded or laid their clothes flat, or hung them on hooks or pegs. Once it became more common to store clothes in a wardrobe, someone, historians don't know exactly who, invented the clothes hanger, a hanging device shaped like human shoulders. Since the mid-19th century, hundreds of inventors have patented various shaped hangers, many of which are still being produced today. This Czech company makes wooden hangers in several styles. It uses beech, a hard and durable type of wood. The damp logs air dry outdoors for 7 months, then go into a kiln for 3 to 4 weeks. Drying the wood is critical, otherwise the hangers would expand and contract with temperature changes and eventually crack. Workers first use a bandsaw to slice the logs into 6 centimeter thick planks. Then they put each plank through a broaching machine. Inside, a toothed blade planes the wood, rendering the top and bottom surfaces level and smooth. Next stop is a grinding machine, which contains abrasive belts. Workers feed the planks into the machine one at a time. As each plank passes through, the belts above it sand the top silky smooth. When the plank exits the machine, workers flip and refeed it to smooth the other side. An automated saw cuts each plank in half and trims the halves to a specific dimension. The now smaller planks go into another grinding machine, which sands the sides smooth. Now the hanger shaping begins. Workers stack 10 planks and, using a circular saw, cut them to the same length, the ends at a 60-degree angle. They mount 4 planks at a time on a milling machine and cut a tongue and groove profile on the edges. They'll later connect the hanger parts by fitting the tongues into the grooves. Stacking 6 planks now, they trace a hanger-shaped template on the top surface, then carefully follow the trace line with a jigsaw. Each plank is now roughly shaped into half a hanger, which they call a lamella. This particular hanger is designed for dresses, so they mill a groove in the shoulder of each lamella for garment straps. Then an automated milling machine refines and finalizes the hanger shape, smoothing the roughly cut wood in the process. Next, with strong cabinet maker's glue, they coat the tongues and grooves of 2 lamellas, then fit them together on a press. They let the glue dry for a day, then saw the point off the top. This creates a flat area into which to insert the hanger's hook. There's already a hole for it there, made when they milled the tongue and groove profile. Next, they sand the joint to remove excess glue and smooth out any nicks or tears in the wood. Then they round the angular joint. To seal and protect the wood, they now spray the entire surface with varnish. When it dries, they do a rough sanding, then apply a second coat and let that dry. Many customers want their logo printed on the hangers they order. The printing machine coats a logo-embossed rubber pad with ink. A sponge dabs the pad, then stamps the logo onto the hanger. Finally, the hanger's iron hook. It's either nickel-plated for a silver tone or brass-plated for a gold tone. Workers position the hook, then a press rams it into the wood 1 centimeter deep. The hook has screw-like threads at the base, which grab and lock into the surrounding wood. For certain models, the factory stains or paints the wood prior to varnishing it. After all, many people like their clothes hangers to make a fashion statement too.